The Environmental and Social Performance Standard 3, Resource Efficiency and Pollution Prevention, outlines a project-level approach to resource management and pollution prevention and control, and avoidance and minimization of greenhouse gas emissions, or GHGs. This performance standard recognizes that increased economic activity and urbanization often lead to increased pollution of air, water, and land, and consume finite resources in a manner that may threaten people and the environment at the local, regional, and global levels. There is a global consensus that the current and projected atmospheric concentrations of greenhouse gases threaten the public health and well-being of current and future generations. Therefore, this performance standard places a specific focus on the need to assess and manage potential greenhouse gases resulting from projects financed and supported by the IDB. More efficient and effective resource use, pollution prevention, and GHG emission avoidance, and related mitigation technologies and practices, have today become more accessible and achievable in virtually all parts of the world. Environmental and Social Performance Standard 3 builds on good international industry practices, or GIIPs, as proposed in the Environmental, Health, and Safety Guidelines from the World Bank and the International Finance Corporation, or IFC. Environmental, health, and safety guidelines include performance levels and measures that are generally acceptable and applicable to projects. If the applicable regulations differ from the levels and measures of the environmental, health, and safety guidelines, borrowers must comply with the stricter figure. If the levels or measures are less strict than the environmental, health, and safety guidelines and are appropriate for the specific circumstances of the project, the borrower will provide a full and detailed justification of any proposed alternative by identifying and assessing the environmental and social risks and impacts. This justification must demonstrate that the choice of any alternative performance level is consistent with the objectives of ESPS 3. Finally, ESPS 3 recognizes the concept and emerging practice of the circular economy and resource recovery, based on the principles of gradually eliminating waste and pollution, keeping products and materials in use, and regenerating natural systems. The 5 objectives of Environmental and Social Performance Standard 3 are: to avoid or minimize adverse impacts on human health and in the environment by avoiding or minimizing pollution from project activities, to promote more sustainable use of resources, including energy and water, to avoid or minimize project-related emissions of GHG, to avoid or minimize waste generation, to minimize and manage the risks and impacts associated with pesticide use,